I'm Luke Darcy. Happy as always to be here alongside Joe Stanley, Jackie Felgate, Dr. Nick Carr. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Nice to be alongside you as always. They say love makes the world go round. I think they might be right with that one, Joe.
Oh, yes. And you know, there were around 120,000 registered marriages in Australia last year, plus who knows how many other love stories.
Well, Joe, more than 300,000 new babies are born here each year, so that really is a whole lot of love.
So today we are bringing the love and focusing on family.
A leading anthropologist will tell us exactly what makes our hearts swell and our minds go a bit gaga when we're in love.
And I'm about to become a grandparent. So what greater love is there than that? But first, my daughter and expectant mum, Isabel, will deliver a lesson on the do's and don'ts of visiting a newborn.
Congratulations again on that. Nick. Very exciting time for us. So let's kick things off with a champion gymnast who's building confidence and community with junior Ninja Warriors.
As an accomplished acrobat, circus artist and Hollywood stunt performer, Luke Haar will jump at any chance to get active while having a blast. But after competing in 3 seasons of Australian Ninja Warrior, Luke just couldn't keep all the fun to himself.
Once I was involved in that TV show and able to be a part of it, I wanted to spread that out. I wanted to give people the opportunity to try obstacles like that, because as a child I loved doing, swinging on bars, doing gymnastics and going to the playgrounds and practicing and just swinging around and playing amongst friends. So I wanted to create a space that was safe and kids could come to, bring their families to, that parents could relive their memories as well and jump on equipment and have a good time,
Luke's mission to spread the joy culminated in Ninja Nation, an obstacle course gym in Melbourne's outer eastern suburbs where kids of all ages learn to unleash their inner ninja.
The families that come have kids ranging from very young, toddler age, all the way up to advanced teenagers. Even the adults love to come in and join some of our classes as well. And then hands on the ground, we'll do 5 push-ups. You can do them on your knees if you want to, or you can do on your toes. The obstacles are very much like the obstacles from the TV show that kids can now have a go on and feel what it feels like to be on there, except for the part where they fall into water.
I like coming here just because you make really good friends and the obstacles are just really fun and challenging.
It's really good. I just love it here. It's my happy place.
You don't have to run it, we go from very low level basic obstacles for balancing, and then we get higher and higher into more high level obstacles where we are leaping from one bar to another bar or leaping from one obstacle to another one through the air about 2, 3, 3.5 meters away.
I like how it kind of feels like you're flying in some parts of it, but I like being able to catch the bar and know that I'm able to catch that bar because it feels like I can do more things and I can push myself and do harder and harder things each time.
I think it really builds her confidence, uses all different parts of her body, work on balance. It's also problem solving, lots of sort of puzzles and working out how to solve the different obstacles.
You go through. I think the program that we have really helps kids develop a personal assurance when they can weigh up a risk and go, okay, I know what's going to happen or what could happen, and they weigh that up and go, I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Our coaches often teach, what's the most important thing about making a mistake, and it's how to deal with the next moment. Come on, Mark, keep it up, keep it up. You got this, Mark. Nice one. I really love it when the parents get involved with the kids going into the obstacle course. It's great to see because the parents will be shy at first. They'll go, oh, I used to be able to do this, and then they give it a try. But it's really encouraging to see when they gain something back. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! And they discover that I used to be able to do this, I can't now, but in a month's time, I will be able to do it again. And throughout that time of them coming, and you see their face just start to glow. It's like, yes, I can do it again. And they're just excited as their kids. And then their kids are trying to coach the parents, and the parents are coaching their kids. And it's just this family bond that's growing. Go, Abby, go! Go, Abby, go! You got it! Yay!
Oh, there's always lots of racing and can you do what I can do and up and down the warped walls and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's great fun, actually, yeah. And it's nice to be able to come in here and act like a kid.
Many of these young athletes are so hooked on the ninja way of life that they're now competing in international competitions. But Luke says for most kids, fun remains the name of the game.
I was a high-level competitive gymnast, and I came to a moment where I was like, I don't really want to do gymnastics anymore, so I stopped. But there was something missing. It was actually the training. So I loved to train, but I didn't like the competition. So that's why I don't push my kids and I don't push our kids into competing. There are kids who are amazing at what they do and they want to compete. So I will give those kids everything that I can to help them do that. But then there are some kids who just want to play, and that is fine too in our classes. We allow for that, just to play and be where they are and enjoy themselves, really.
Never give up. That's what I've learned from this. Yeah.
Up next, I get the lowdown on love from an Aussie anthropologist who reveals why falling in love can really make you feel like you're losing your mind. That's next.
This is my exercise for the day, you understand? I rely on her for a lot of things. Keeps my head safe, you know. When I first got her, I used to do self-harm all the time. And then my mate said, you need a dog to look, you know, something you can look after. So I've never cut myself again. You coming or what? Come on. It's hard to explain, you know. She's my buddy. Hey, Bum. Yeah, it's inside, it makes me happy all the time. Without her, it's totally different. You know, you drag your feet around, you're grumpy or you're miserable. But when you've got your dog, it's brings so much joy to you, I think.
Well, at LifeView, we allow pets to move in with their owners. It just makes that transition easier when you're moving from a home, because you give up a lot to move into aged care. You shouldn't also have to give up that relationship that you have, that human-animal bond, to move into care. And somebody like Paul, he wouldn't settle without his dog, Bonnie, and that's the same for a lot of people. Our pets have been our companions for many, many years, and to have to give them up, it's really sad and heartbreaking.
Everyone wants to pet her. Most people. I think there's only 2 people in here that don't like dogs. Everyone else just, oh, come here, you know, I'm me dog, you know. They all fall in love with her. So I think she puts a smile on a lot of people.
They're shocked at how much he's grown in a few months. That's normally a conversation starter. Every time he comes in, they're like, oh, he's grown bigger. Is he going to get much bigger? Because when he first came in, he was just a little round fluff ball.
Hello. We are a pet-friendly workplace, so staff can bring their pets to work to interact with the residents. And there's also rules around that. With everything, there's always rules. But those pets brighten residents' days as well. There'll be residents who say, let me look after your pet for the day as if it was their own.
I love him dearly. I don't have him as often as I'd like, but, you know, he'll come in. He sort of knows my place so very well. And apparently he sort of raced through about 3 corridors to get to my place this morning.
There will be days where they might be going through some personal or hard times, where I find if I sit and spend some one-on-one time with them and give them emotional support from myself, it's not as effective as when you have Archie, because he just gives them that affection. He'll jump up on their laps and have a cuddle and give them a sneaky little kiss, and I feel that interaction between the resident and the dog is just more effective. It's like therapeutics.
You know what his name is? No. Marvin. Posh name. Posh name.
Having animals around really lifts the vibe of the home. Even those living with dementia, it brings back memories of a pet they may have had, makes everybody happy and smiling. And that's really what we want to see. We want people to be as happy as possible each and every day and bring back good memories.
Do you want to go on a nap? Most of our residents, they've had pets all their life, so most of the time they'll interact with him before they interact with me. So you'll have those residents that might not talk much at all, but they'll interact with him more. So it's seeing the pleasure it gives them. And Marvin enjoys it, so even when he's not with me, everyone asks, where's Marvin, where's Marvin?
I just think more dogs should be in places like this because there's old people that need the dogs. You know, I mean, I know what she does for me, and if there was a few more dogs around here, I think it'd be a happy household. So I think that rule should change a bit.
Because it is communal living, not everybody is going to be accepting of a pet moving in. But as long as the resident can continue to care for that pet, including walking, feeding, veterinary care, etc., we really believe that it's a great policy to have, and we encourage other providers to do so.
We lived on a farm.
Yeah. I wouldn't have lasted here without me dog. There's no way. You know, it drove me nuts. But, you know, there's only the two of us, you know. I've looked after her all her life. So we complete together, you know? Best medicine for me, yeah.
Well, Joe, today we're speaking a lot about family, platonic friends, our pets, our partners, our kids. And it's well documented, as you know, that kids that grow up in a loving, affectionate, emotionally safe environment tend to have much better lives.
Well, the search for what makes us happy and healthy in life is almost a science in itself, but love definitely is the linchpin because loved kids do flourish as adults.
So I think that's why we all support the laws and parameters around making sure that vulnerable kids, particularly when they're young, are well looked after. It's something as a community I think we all agree on.
And to all those sleep-deprived new parents, you know, it is worth it. I mean, we love our beautiful little babies even through the haze and them keeping us on our toes day and night. It's totally worth it. Something that Dr. Isabel Carr is about to experience firsthand. Here she is with proud dad and granddad-to-be, Dr. Nick.
Hi and welcome to Medicine Past, Present and Future. My name's Dr. Nick and I'm the past.
And my name's Dr. Isabel and I'm the future.
And together we're the present.
Now, astute viewers may have noticed, but there's little someone else with us on the couch here today.
And I am so excited because finally I get to be a grandfather.
And today we're talking about a topic that is as cute as it is crucial. Now, Dr. Nick, what's the first thing a grandparent wants to do when they meet their tiny new grandchild?
It's pretty easy. I just want to pick it up and give it a huge kiss and a cuddle, of course. Absolutely irresistible.
But did you know that kissing a newborn should really be reserved for the parents and the caregivers of the baby?
You mean I'm not going to be allowed to kiss my first grandchild?
That's right. It's actually a really hard boundary to uphold. But tiny babies' immune systems need some time to develop. So coughs, colds, even tiny cold sores that don't cause any problems in adults can cause serious problems in newborn babies.
And I have heard of this new acronym. It sounds a little bit forced, but the acronym is THANKS. And the THA stands for Think Hands. In other words, wash all those nasty germs away. And then the NKS is for No Kisses. I hate that bit, but it's probably good advice.
And if you have any cough or cold symptoms, don't visit a newborn or their parents. But Dr. Nick, what about vaccinations for family and friends?
Yeah, so you're talking about the disease whooping cough, which is also known as pertussis. Now, when your younger sister, Olivia, that now not so little, Dr. Olivia, when she was just 4 weeks old, she contracted whooping cough, possibly from an adult who didn't even know they had it. And when you see it in a tiny baby, you realise how dangerous this disease is. Because she would just cough and cough and cough. She couldn't breathe. She'd go the colour of your dress. And finally, when she did get some breath in, there'd be this squeak, this sound, which is the whoop of whooping cough. It was just terrifying.
Now, this is why we recommend anyone spending a significant amount of time around a newborn baby get vaccinated against whooping cough at least a couple of weeks before the baby's due. Now, Dr. Nick, when was your last pertussis vaccine?
Well, I'm due for a booster, which I was planning to get sometime, well before your baby's born.
Yeah, good idea, because the vaccination actually lasts for up to 10 years. But we're here today, why don't we just do it now?
What, now on camera?
Yeah, why not? Just roll up your sleeve, we'll get it done. It's pretty simple.
Okay, never say no to your daughter.
Love comes in many forms and can actually spark changes in the human brain, hence phrases like crazy in love. I caught up with anthropologist Adam Bode, who explains the science behind being in love. So love is great, but tell me, what does love actually mean?
So there's a number of types of love. So there's maternal love or romantic love, love for our family members, love for our friends, pets, country sports teams, even instruments I've heard. There's no actual scientific definition of all those types of love. But in terms of romantic love, which is what I study, I like the definition that says it's a motivational state that serves reproductive functions.
What's the science behind falling in love with a person?
Science of romantic love is really at the early stages, so we don't know a whole bunch. But what seems to happen is we become attracted to an individual, and our brain takes on a sort of change, which means information about our loved one takes on a special meaning. And there's a whole range of downstream cascade effects involving things like oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and opioids. It means our brain react really acutely to that loved one.
So what do we feel when we're in love?
So we don't just feel. So there's a whole range of feelings: elation, melancholy, excitement, physiological arousal. But we also think a lot. There's a lot of cognitions associated with romantic love, particularly obsessive thinking. So people who are in love have these intrusive thoughts about their loved one up to 50% of their waking hours.
But what about if you're like married to, say, forever? Do you still feel that way even though you love them?
So generally, romantic love, which is that thing that happens at the beginning of a relationship where you go a little bit crazy and think your partner's the best thing ever, that does tend to fade. Although there is a rare phenomenon called long-term romantic love, where people who have been in a relationship for decades or even longer are still wildly, passionately in love with their partner.
How rare is that?
We're not sure, and maybe 20% of people might experience that.
Adam, you know that saying crazy in love. Have you found that that's true?
Since the ancient Greeks, people have been drawing analogies between mental illness and romantic love. They used to call it love sickness, and it was associated with melancholia and suicide attempts and all sorts of things. So when we fall in love, the brain does undergo changes and we lose a bit of rationality. Sometimes we make bad decisions. Everybody has a friend who's fallen in love with somebody who wasn't right for them. There's also changes in mood and something called positive illusions, which are somewhat like delusions, where we think our partner is really, really good.
We all think our partner's good. That's why we're with them. What about heartbreak too, if you fall out of love?
Sure. So that's studied in the context of unrequited love. So there's been a number of studies looking at people who have basically been ditched, and it's somewhat akin to an opioid withdrawal, somewhat like heroin addiction. Very similar to grief. When we fall out of love, we can't sleep, often we don't eat, we're sad, we have crying spells, those sorts of things.
And what was the most surprising thing? I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of surprising things about your study, but was there something that stood out?
So we did a study looking at the differences between women and men, and we were surprised to find there's actually not that many differences. There are some small differences in that women feel romantic love slightly more intensely and they obsess about their partner a little bit more than do men. And men fall in love roughly 1 month earlier than do women.
Why do you think people haven't studied love much before?
I think it's an interesting and fascinating area to study. But there is some people, and even in the scientific community, who think it's this magical, mystical thing that shouldn't be subject to scientific inquiry. I think they're wrong.
I think I would agree with you on that too, because the physiological effects of love, like you said, if your partner breaks up with you or if you really fall in love, your body feels that way, doesn't it?
Oh, it's one of the most intense experiences we'll ever experience.
I have just learned so much about love. So thank you, Jack and Adam. Still to come, the expert advice on how to make medications easier to swallow for our kids, plus fight MND, gears up for the annual Daniher drive. That's next.
We tell our children not to swallow food until they've chewed it. So is there any wonder why swallowing tablets is so hard? Here's a tasty way to help them go down, as suggested by the Royal Children's Hospital. You'll need some lolly snakes and yogurt. Cut the snake into small pieces and place it inside the yogurt. When your child eats the lolly yogurt, encourage them to swallow the snake pieces whole without chewing. Remember, lots of praise. Then thin the yogurt out with milk and eventually graduate to water with gelatin capsules from your pharmacist. Your child will be swallowing tablets in no time. Please don't split an adult medication because the dosing won't be accurate. Adult doses may contain higher concentrations of the active ingredient, which may be toxic for kids. Children's medications are specially formulated for their young metabolism, so please go for the children's option. It tastes better as well. Maybe not a spoonful of sugar, but I'm definitely a fan of jelly beans for encouragement.
Nick, I could talk for hours on end about AFL legend Neil Daniher and his fight to find a cure for motor neurone disease. Neil was diagnosed 10 years ago with MND. The beast, as Neil describes it, is a beast of an illness. Neil's put it on the map and inspired so many of us around what a great human can do in the most difficult of circumstances.
Yeah, as the name suggests, motor neurone disease affects these motor neurons that come from the brain and spinal cord to tell our muscles what to do. So it affects everything to do with movement, so walking, talking, swallowing, eventually even breathing. And it's relentless. And because there's no cure at the moment, it really is the beast.
When you see Neil, still remarkable. He's got his sense of humour and his smile. He's always appearing at the footy. The Daniher family have raised more than $100 million and invested that into a number of clinical trials on this pursuit of trying to find a cure for motor neurone disease, which has been such an elusive fight. But their contribution is just something that's truly remarkable.
And the Big Freeze is one way to help. And now, in its 8th year, Daniher's Drive is set to hit the road once again.
Yeah, you don't have to be part of the Daniher Drive or get in a car. I encourage you to do it if you find the chance, because you'll have a great time with the Daniher family. But here is the remarkable Jan Daniher, the legendary woman behind the inspirational Neil, and telling you about ways you can get involved to help find a cure for MND.
We call motor neurone disease a beast of a disease. It takes away people's ability to move, to speak, to swallow and eventually to breathe. 2 people today will die from MND and 2 people will be diagnosed with MND. And at present, the life expectancy of someone with MND is 27 months. It's incredibly difficult watching the person that you love slowly deteriorate and go from a really fit, healthy person to a person who's totally reliant on care from other people. It's really important to think about the positives that have come from this. And while there are quite a few negatives, there are some amazing positives that have come through. Big Freeze is a really special event for all of our family. To stand on the MCG, to look around the ground and see everyone wearing a blue beanie is incredibly special and an emotional time for us. The Daniher's Drive is another really special moment. It started with an idea from Neil. He wanted to go out into the country regions, spread the word about MND. So we're in our 8th year. We've got 230 people going on the drive this year. We're travelling to Bendigo, Warrnambool and Toulon. And along the way, we stop off at a lot of different community events. It's all about having fun. Neil has always said he wants fundraising to be fun. And boy, do we have some fun on the drive. I think it's important for Fight MND to get on the road because, 10 years ago, no one knew what MND was, and it's hard to raise money when people don't know anything about MND. So it was really important for us to get out there, meet people, spread the word, and nothing could have happened without all the people in every realm around our country supporting Fight MND. We've got a long way to go, so we need to continue to raise this money, and Big Freeze and Daniher's Drive are great funders of the research. We are incredibly grateful for everything that everyone is doing to help us with this fight.
Claire, you are absolutely skin goals. Tell us how the state of your skin affects you.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. Well, the state of my skin affects me a lot. If I'm having a bad skin day, it really does affect my confidence and makes me feel like I need to wear more makeup. And when I have a good skin day, it's just one less thing to think about.
Unfortunately, not all of us are blessed with clear skin, with 85% of young adults experiencing acne.
And it doesn't just affect young people, Sarah. Up to 3% of men and 5% of women still have acne between the ages of 40 to 49 years. Acne is a common skin condition that occurs when there are blockages of skin pores or hair follicles. These blockages are created by excessive skin oil production and dead skin cells, or harmful bacteria on the skin. This results in outbreaks of pimples or blackheads on the skin surface.
This is the part everyone wants to know. How can we help decrease acne?
I'm a big believer that clear skin starts from within. So managing stress, limiting sugar, keeping hydrated and a healthy, balanced diet are key.
Something you know a lot about thanks to your passion for cooking.
Exactly. Incorporating fresh fruits and vegetables, fish, nuts and seeds. Even dark chocolate provides vitamins and minerals to support overall skin health.
On that note, you've recently partnered with Australia's #1 probiotic brand, LifeSpace. Tell us about their Acne Relief Plus Skin Rebalance probiotic.
The premium, targeted, comprehensive formula is designed to help relieve the symptoms of acne and blackheads in a convenient daily oral capsule. It contains 2 strains of probiotics to support beneficial intestinal bacteria, as well as clinically trialled nutrients, lactoferrin, zinc, and vitamin E. They work together to relieve congested skin pores and help reduce the occurrence of acne symptoms. Finally, the addition of vitamin C supports collagen formation and biotin supports overall skin health.
And with skin having such an impact on our self-esteem and confidence, do you have any final words of wisdom for our viewers whose skin may not be cooperating?
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Try to be patient and most importantly, be kind to yourself. No one has perfect skin all the time and your worth certainly isn't defined by it.
We all know the feeling, you know, you want to make a good impression when you walk in a room or, you know, if you're putting your hand up to say something at work or if you're rocking into a party where there's lots of people. Some people are really good at that, some people aren't, and it's a confidence thing.
Self-confidence can be elusive. Some say we're born with it, others say we learn it over time, but the science says it's actually a bit of both.
Psychologists say for kids, personality traits linked to confidence are 50-50 nature versus nurture. So what that means is that their self-confidence is influenced both by the personality they're born with, but also their life experiences and achievements.
It's something that we can all work on, but the science also says do more of what you're already good at. And I think this makes perfect sense because if we're already achieving in a certain area, all it does is give us more confidence when we're already good at it.
You can also set goals that require a bit of effort but are realistic because our confidence grows when we achieve something that we're proud of.
My thing is I've got to stop being so critical of myself. My whole life I'm always criticising what I'm doing, and I think for me it's about letting go a little bit as well.
Yeah, you've got to let go of that perfectionist gene, don't you think? Yes, absolutely.
One thing I find boosts my confidence is feeling and looking my best. And I think the key to that is the makeup I'm wearing, especially one of my favourite foundations. Gone are the days of a cakey-based product. Now it's all about embracing clean, natural ingredients for better skin. Nude by Nature's Natural Mineral Cover Foundation is a loose powder enriched with 100% natural ingredients, including the native Australian Kakadu plum, known for its abundant vitamin C content. Also included is jojoba esters to nourish the skin, as well as kale and clay for a flawless complexion. Available in 8 shades, this feather-light formula is buildable, covering redness, pigmentation and concealing enlarged pores, all while delivering a satin radiant finish.
All right, so Talia, what I find the hardest when it comes to foundation is trying to match my colour.
I think we naturally go to put any foundation or product directly onto our hand when we're colour matching, but it actually makes more sense and is a lot easier to directly grab the product and just try it directly on your face. The shade I've selected for you today is N4 Medium. Now I'm going to be applying the product using the Nude by Nature mineral brush. Now the great thing about this brush is it's nice and big and fluffy, which means we're going to be able to cover more area of your face, and it's going to go on your skin very evenly, and it will give you the appearance of having a second skin.
Application is just as important as the foundation choice itself. And the Nude by Nature mineral brush is ergonomically designed for ultimate control. Its short, tightly packed bristles ensure that the right amount of powder is evenly distributed, meaning that the most unskilled makeup artist can feel like a pro. Whether it's part of your everyday routine or a special occasion, makeup shouldn't feel like anything other than natural on the skin. So why use anything other than natural products?
So tell me, how do you feel about the final makeup look?
I really love it. It feels really light on my skin, but I'm still getting the coverage that I want.
Perfect.
Spring has arrived, and with it, we farewell the colder weather and welcome more outdoor activities. But while picnics in the park and garden projects sound like a dream for some, for others, the unfortunate reality is seasonal hay fever. While allergy triggers come in many forms like dust, mould and animal dander, this time of year, increased pollen levels may also be to blame. The nose acts as the first line of defence for the body by filtering these allergen particles out. Failing to do so may result in a stuffy nose, watery eyes and sneezing. Anyone who's experienced even just one symptom knows how disrupting and frustrating it can be. Australia's #1 nasal saline range, Fess, offers natural, non-medicated options to tackle stuffy noses, whether caused by colds, sinusitis or hay fever. The Fess Nasal and Sinus Gentle Strength Wash Kit provides congestion relief, flushing out excess mucus, clearing nasal passages and reducing mild to moderate congestion. Use the wash as a pre-treatment to improve the effectiveness of a medicated spray. Fess also comes in handy spray packs, ideal for travel and suitable for use after long-haul flights that often leave us feeling dry or congested. It takes the nose being congested for us to truly appreciate its role in helping us breathe. And while we certainly can't stop spring bringing on allergies, help is on hand to allow us to take a deep breath and enjoy the many great things about this season.
Heinzie there with relief for allergy sufferers this spring. And Dr. Nick, right now is peak season for hay fever and asthma, including the potentially deadly thunderstorm asthma.
Yeah, which can happen when the thunderstorm causes a burst of pollen to be released. And if you inhale those deep into your lungs, it can trigger severe asthma, even in someone who's never had it before.
Well, people in Melbourne are particularly aware of this phenomenon. And in fact, we have been labelled the asthma thunderstorm capital of the world after that really tragic season in 2016, in which we saw a lot of really, really tragic casualties.
Yeah, which is why 400 people have enrolled with a new smart app to see if it'll help reduce their risk. And this is an app that was developed by a research team at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, and it can actually be personalised to your own allergens or triggers.
Meantime, the best thing that people who are susceptible to asthma can do is know your triggers. Make sure that you have an up-to-date prescription and inhaler, and also ensure that you have a year-long asthma management plan.
Yes, and if you live in Victoria, you can also download a different mobile app which will warn you of the danger days.
A change of pace now as we head to the kitchen with Zoe, and she's mixing up a beautiful custard treat that is very, very delicious.
There's nothing more satisfying than nailing a complicated recipe, and custard challenges even the most confident chefs. And while my baked berry custard with sweet dukkha isn't easy, the end result is worth bragging about. Preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. Eggs and milk form the base of the custard, delivering a rich, creamy consistency. Whisk, then add sweeteners. Nutmeg, cinnamon. They're strong, so a little goes a long way. Vanilla gives warmth and aromatic complexity, complementing the earthy, smoky flavours of the maple syrup. Finally, berries for a burst of colour. I'm placing the ramekins in a water bath for even, gentle cooking. Custard is delicate, so this helps prevent curdling or drying out. Bake for 20 to 25 minutes while I get onto the dukkha topping. Nuts and seeds are the perfect crunchy contrast to the smooth custard. And toasting intensifies their flavour. Cool both elements before serving together.
Ain't life so good? Yeah, this life is good.
Now, I wouldn't say I'm much of a dessert person, but this recipe is full of velvety goodness. Oh, wow, now that will turn anyone into a sweet tooth. Get Nourished is brought to you by Swiss Ultiboost Stress Control Nootropics. Support a healthy stress response and improve mental alertness to help power through high-pressure situations.
we take all the children that get injured in Australia each year, about a third of those children will have been injured from a fall. And the most likely environment or setting for that fall is a playground or a piece of playground equipment. A hospital like the Royal Children's Hospital, we see the full range of injuries. Bent forearm, which is going to get better, through to the spinal injury, which is going to be really importantly cared for, but probably is going to have a long-term impact on that child. That's hard, really, because these children have been in a fun place. They've been doing something that all the other children have been doing, but in the moment of their injury, they sustain something pretty serious. And whilst as a team we gather around and we bring all our expertise and all our care to do everything we can for that child and for their future, we do have concerns about the way in which that child will grow up and enjoy life to their fullness. There are some key elements around making playground play safer. This goes right back to when the playground is built or when we install playground equipment in our home. So when we think about the setting, it should be a nice open area, perhaps also with some shade, and it should be something that which we can see really clearly the children on the playground, because supervision is going to be key to keeping this playground safe. Having a softer surface upon which a child might fall will be really important in reducing the severity of the injuries that they might sustain. They might still break their arm, but hopefully wouldn't sustain a significant head injury. With our youngest children, we might need to be literally in arm's reach of that child all the time. Then there are things like swings. We need to make sure that children are kept away from that swinging environment, because not only can you be injured from falling from a swing, you can be injured from being struck by a child who is on a swing. So we need to be just watching the perimeter, because children will just wander in and out of that space quite unaware of the danger. Most of what we've been talking about is a playground, somewhere we might leave home and go to. What about at our homes? And while some people do have play equipment at home, the most popular and perhaps the most prominent in this discussion would be a trampoline. Now, we should make sure we buy good, safe trampolines for our children. These are the springless or covered spring trampolines, that they have enclosing netting. And as long as that netting is done up and as long as those springs and trampolines are well maintained, that's a good, safe space for a child to play in. We can, however, make that less safe as soon as we bring more than one child onto the trampoline at once. And I completely recognise that that is a moment that many children have lots and lots of hours of fun with, but in that moment, they're actually skirting in and out of injury and risk all the time in a way that probably isn't okay. I've seen a child's leg snap in that situation. Just go from being a whole leg to a snapped leg simply because they were bouncing on a trampoline with another person, and the energy was just too much. The message that I would hope people hear from this is not stop bringing your children into playgrounds and having them play on equipment at your home. We're wanting to stop the kind of injuries that bring a child out of school for the year, that put a child into a wheelchair for the rest of their lives. And it's those most serious injuries that can be helped with still the same simple measures we've spoken about.
Today's focus has been on all things love, finding love, falling in love, looking after those we love, including our animals, Jo.
And just on love, dating apps seem to be losing their appeal, which is so interesting. I have many friends who have met and fallen in love on those apps, but apparently Gen Z are opting out.
It's interesting when you think about it, Jo. Gen Z are 18 to 27-year-olds. They're the first generation, really, that have had connectivity on the internet since birth. So you'd think they would be the ones that would be all over the dating apps, wouldn't you?
Dating apps sound scary to me, and I think this is called dating app fatigue, and the general feeling is that the algorithms aren't actually helping them find what they want. So they're going back to the traditional method of meeting people in real life?
Well, fair enough. I mean, the latest government stats say that 1 in 3 Aussies have used dating apps, with men outnumbering women, or at least admitting to using them more than the women do. And perhaps it's that Gen Xers are leaving it to the millennials, I can't even say that word, or whatever we call a generation before that too. Maybe that's the silver foxes?
I don't know about that. Speaking of foxes, there are some animals that don't even need to date. They simply mate for life. Have you seen the beavers on Instagram and how much they love each other?
Oh, they're so cute, aren't they, Jack? And penguins are also monogamous. monogamous, and so are cranes, bald eagles, and like male penguins, they co-parent by helping to keep the eggs warm and feeding the chicks when they're born.
Yes, also grey wolves are on the list of lifelong mates, and so are gibbons, although apparently sometimes they cheat on their mates and then break up, and then they get back
Just like humans.
back together again.
Sounds familiar.
It's like that's not only unique to gibbons, that sort of pattern, Joe. Well, that's our show for today. Thank you to Joe, thank you to Jack, thank you to Dr. Nick Carr. It's been a great pleasure, as always.
Make sure you tune into House of Wellness Radio every Sunday with Luke Hines and Gerald Quigley.
And don't forget to pick up the latest House of Wellness lift out with soccer legend Lionel Messi on the cover does.
Big thanks to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse. It's bye for now.